Right, it looks like we are live. We're live. It looks like we have some people here. That's always a good thing. And we have a special guest. Yes, Carys from English Arts Academy will be joining us in just about 5 minutes or so. So I want to say hi to a couple people. I see Ashraf is here. Mary from Iran. Mary and I will be talking after this. She won a contest I had a couple weeks ago. So we're going to be talking for 30 minutes. Maria is here. Big game, Argentina. Hey, the first thing, just so we can get to know everybody, you mind putting in the chat what country you are from? Maybe you'll find a language partner from the same country, or who knows? Maybe not even the same country, but it's always fun to hear where everybody is from. We see Sean is here from Free 99 English. I know he's from Canada. Welcome, Sean. Luke, Dr. Luke to some. Dr. Luke is here. Welcome. We got India is in the house. Nathan Silva. How are you, Nathan? Can I guess where you're from? And I'm just going on the last name, but I know in Brazil, Silva is a popular last name. But I had a friend. His name was Chris Silva. He's from the United States. So that's just a guess. Just a guess. We got HS Shin from China. Welcome. Welcome. Now, yeah, Sean lives about 2 hours from me, maybe, in New Brunswick. Not that far. Ricardo's here from Spain. Welcome. Hey, Ricardo. Let me be the first to offer my condolences. I don't know if you're a soccer fan or a football fan, but yesterday I did see Spain go down to Italy. Very sad for most people in Spain, I'm sure. Vietnam is in the house. That's good. Great to see everyone. I hope this is a good time for you. Carys, as I mentioned, she'll be here from English Arts Academy very soon. She often goes live at this time. So if this is a good time for you to study, definitely check out her channel. There's a link in the description. She goes live a lot, but I don't want to steal her thunder. Maybe that's a new term. I don't want to tell you everything about Carys before she gets here because I would ruin it. I would steal her thunder. I want her to be able to talk about herself. Another term I'd like to talk to you, teach you today is on a short leash. Nightbot. Nightbot is in the house. Nightbot is moderating the conversation. So she, Nightbot will be looking to make sure everyone is saying nice things, not being mean, not spamming. But we've had some problems with Nightbot in the past. Maria is here. Yeah, Nightbot put them in timeout for no reason. So Nightbot is on a short leash, which means Nightbot has already made some mistakes. I'm bringing Nightbot back, but Nightbot does not have long before I'm going to get rid of it if they start messing up again. I don't like them putting my friends in timeout. So if you're on a short leash, it means you've messed up before. You've made some mistakes. You're getting a second chance, but it's not very long. So maybe you're at work. I'm sure nobody messes up at work, right? Nobody makes mistakes at work, but maybe you made a mistake and your boss says, one more chance. Short leash though. You can't mess up again. You don't have long before, but Nightbot look at Nightbot already. Now, Luke, I have known Luke for a long time. Luke is a channel member. I think we get rid of Nightbot already. Samra is here too. Hey, Samra, welcome. Yeah, Nightbot. Did he put Luke in timeout? He's just warning maybe, or she. It's just a warning. All right, I'm going to keep my eye on Nightbot though. Sometimes in English, I don't know, maybe you do this. You don't even need to know English for this. I'm keeping my eye on you. All right, what do you say? Oh, we already have questions too. So in a minute, Carys is going to come in, another English expert. So you'll have 2 English teachers here answering questions, which will be great. I have a question. How do you say a team won? Oh, on penalties. Yeah. So yeah, yesterday Italy won, but it was on penalties. I think we might say that. Oh, I'm an American. Maybe Karis likes sports. Maybe we should bring her in. Maybe she can shed some light on the topic. She can help us out. So if everyone could give Karis a nice warm welcome, I'm gonna bring her on, and just like that, like she's here now. Karis, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's nice to
Yeah.
be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And am I correct in saying that this is about the time on Wednesdays that you go live?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good memory. Yeah, so this is like 2 p.m. for me now. So it's quite, it's early afternoon. It's quite a nice time. And I go live on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I mix up the time I go live on a Sunday because I don't know if it is hard to accommodate for everyone. Obviously, if you've got people coming from India and then people from Mexico, the time zones are almost 12 hours apart or 10 hours apart, so it's quite challenging sometimes to figure out the best time and also to fit into your life and your schedule, but I quite like this time before the afternoon slump hits me.
Yeah, that caffeine starts wearing off.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think on Sundays, it's 3 hours before this, usually.
Yeah, so I mix it up on a Sunday. So I
Oh,
do
okay.
one in the morning around 11 a.m. GMT time, and then I'll do one the next week around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. GMT time, just to kind of alternate between the times, really. Yeah.
And the replay is a great thing. I'm just want to shout out to anyone watching on replay. And I think you do something really unique, which, I mean, if you don't mind talking a little bit about what you do live, with helping people actually practice their speaking.
Yes. So this is a new thing that I started. So I've been doing lives for a few months and I don't know if you find the same. I kept getting people messaging me saying, I want to speak English, or I don't have anyone to speak English with, I've no one to practice with. And I was like, how can I help in a free way, but also a realistic way? I can't just be on the phone with people
Right.
privately. So I thought YouTube is such a great tool. So now I think I've been doing it for like a month. And I have to say, I personally love it. So yeah, so I do these live chats on a Wednesday and a Sunday where anyone can join. So if people want to come and practice speaking English, we choose a really fun topic, which is great normally for small talk, so you can have that conversation with most people around the world and people aren't going to get offended. And then they can join in the chat. They can either show their face, like how you and I are, or they can just do it via audio. And the people who come on, I always think people are quite nervous. But then when I always speak to the people after, like via a message, they always say they feel so much more empowered. They're really happy that they actually did it. They're more confident with their English. And I'm a big believer in, to improve in anything, we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. We have to do something which is a bit challenging, which maybe we aren't sure of, but that's where you're going to reap the rewards afterwards. That's where you're going to feel like, yes, I did it. You're going to remember that emotion, how you feel. You're also going to remember what you spoke about. And I think that's where you make the biggest advancements, really.
I would agree. Yeah, the one I saw, it was a guy from Sri Lanka, and he was talking about cricket. And even though I'm a native English speaker, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty enjoyable." I had fun learning about other cultures too. So
Yeah, exactly. I do. I mean, I love it because I think when you do sort of teach online, it can feel a little bit one way sometimes that you're given a lesson or you're talking. But I really enjoy speaking back with the learners, learning where they're from, anything about their culture that they want to share, what they're doing with their lives, why they're learning English. For me, that's really enjoyable.
yeah, I agree. And it looks like somebody already wants to. Namani might want to join one of your live
Yes,
speaking sessions. So
yes, come
yeah,
across. Yeah, absolutely.
so great. So do you ever get nervous? Semra's here from Turkey. I think that's Mahatma. in Turkish. I think that means hi, but I think I'm saying it
Ah,
wrong. I'm
oh.
saying it wrong. I'm pretty sure.
You gave it a
Yeah,
go.
I tried. I got out of my comfort zone. I
Exactly.
didn't mind looking like an idiot. I think like when you like I was thinking when you jump out of an airplane, you have all of that adrenaline, but you remember that experience. So I bet it's a lot like when you're coming online, speaking a foreign language. It's like you never have to do your first time again though. You can say, I did it, I'm done. I
Exactly.
think it's a
Exactly.
great thing.
And I think it's that it takes away that desire to always be perfect, because I think we all have that. Maybe don't want to lose face. We don't want to be seen as maybe making a mistake, which I think is really bizarre, because as humans we all make mistakes all the time. I think
All
that's
the
how
time.
we learn, and you never judge a baby for making a mistake. So I don't know why as adults we get a bit more fearful.
I don't either. I don't either. I'm trying to get over that. I've been learning Italian for 2 years and I've been trying, I get tongue tied when so I feel for a lot of people learning English is like, I know a lot of what's coming in, but I can't produce it yet.
Mm,
It's all part of the
mm.
process though.
Yeah,
Patty Candle
exactly.
from France says, hello, Carys.
Hello, hello. Oh, it's so nice to be seeing everyone commenting.
Yeah. Where is Bob the Canadian? I would assume Bob the Canadian is in Canada right now. Do you know Bob the Canadian?
Yes,
He's a
yeah. I
legend.
love
Yeah.
Bob. Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
legend. So a
yeah,
lot of people find my channel through Bob the Canadian, but he's so
yeah. I saw your video with him. I think to do with ice cream, if I remember
yes.
correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. We have another one coming up, but we got to open the border. I think it could be pretty awesome, but it might be 2022. I don't know.
Yeah, because the border's still closed, isn't it, between the US and Canada?
Yeah, I think you have to know somebody to get through because I have family who is Canadian and it's my sister-in-law and she hasn't seen her parents in over a year and a half. And
Yeah.
there's no idea when it's going to open back up. But
No, no.
all right, question. I don't want to read the question because I might steal your thunder, but the spelling is correct.
Yes, yeah. And you've been pronouncing it right. So it is just Carys. So it's a little bit like the capital of France, Paris, but with a Y and a C.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
Carys. It is a slightly unusual name. It's actually a Welsh name. As my mother's side of my family are from Wales, so I have a Welsh name. So I know it's challenging for people, even people throughout England struggle with my name. So I just answer to anything.
Yeah.
People call me Paris, Charis. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, my first name is Brent. So Brett is a very common. Like, what if it starts with a B? It's probably from me. So it's all good.
Yeah,
It's all good.
exactly.
It's
But
a
yours,
different name.
I mean, you have the N in yours, so it's
Yeah,
kind of it should be fairly easy.
you
But
would
maybe
you
people
would
don't read it.
you would think. My father-in-law he passed away maybe 4 years ago. But my wife and I we've been married for 25 years, and I think for the whole time we were together, he called me Brett. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That's
Hey,
kind of hard with your father-in-law as well,
yeah,
because it's still your father-in-law. So, there's always going to be that boundary between you both, I think.
exactly. Oh, you want me to be Brett? Okay, I'll be Brett. Yeah. Hey, we have a new channel member. That I don't want to assume anything, but how do I pronounce this? Sfiket? That's wrong. That's wrong. But I would assume that maybe you're from Turkey. Maybe. But I got to play this because we got a new member. New member. Make sure you check the members tab for the Discord, the members chat, and the bonus videos. Yeah, thank you so much. Welcome to the community. We go on Discord quite a bit. We're chatting in there daily, so check that out. Check the members tab. Love to have you. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
that's amazing. And I love this little animation thing that you had as well.
I have two for super chats and for StreamYard. Do you stream with StreamYard?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do use StreamYard. Yeah.
it's a great little tool, but they have some thing. I made some things. Try to make them
Yeah.
better, but
I might, next time you'll be on my live, there'll be something very similar.
there you go. Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about an island resort. I think Mary also said I think you're getting some compliments about your accent. So maybe we could talk a little bit about accent because I also love it. I love it, and I think that if you're learning English, if you're watching my channel, you're probably leaning towards the American side. And if you're watching Carys's channel, English Arts Academy, check it out. You're probably leaning more towards British English, but it's helpful to hear both, I
Mhm,
think.
mhm,
And I have a friend, Gino. If Gino's out there watching on replay, he's at Real Everyday English. He's from Northern England. And
mhm.
when I first heard him talk, I had to train my ear a little bit. I'm like, whoa, this is a little different. But are you from like Southern England maybe? Like, is there a big, no, way off. Okay. I'll be quiet.
No, I'm very northern actually, and I think if anyone is watching it who is from the UK will be like, she is not southern. So I'm from a city called Liverpool, which is in the northwest of England. Um, so I speak with a Scouse accent. Now my Scouse, so we call it a Scouse accent if you're from Liverpool.
Okay.
Um, my Scouse accent is actually fairly mild. So if you came on holiday here and you were, doing the touristy things, you would be met with a lot thicker accent than mine. But no, it's a very northern accent. It's quite far from the RP that maybe people are used to, and if they learn from like old school textbooks, or if they watch a lot of the BBC or BBC News, for example. But I agree with you completely. I always say this. I say the best way to be understood is to train your ears so you can understand a wide variety of accents, because I think in the UK alone there's around 40 to 50 accents.
Really?
So I mean, that is so many. And the RP accent only makes up about 1% of the population, so
Oh,
it's
really?
actually really, really small. So I think it's really useful for learners to listen to a wide variety of accents. But I always wonder about this about from the US, because obviously we kind of say, oh, British English and American English. But then within British English, you do have these 40 plus accents. But is that the same in the US? Do you have a lot of accents? I mean, I probably know the big ones that you would see on a TV show or in a Hollywood movie, and I'm guessing they're probably quite exaggerated. But
Yeah.
can you pick out where people are from in the States?
Yeah, sort of. But it's like there's a Boston accent, right? And I live 2 hours north of Boston. I live in the state of Maine. There is a Maine accent. There is a New Jersey accent. And then when you get to the South, like Alabama
Yeah.
and then Louisiana, Texas has a different one. But like once you get out to California, and they all sound the same to me. So I think if I lived out there, I'd be like, oh, that's a little different. But so we do have some regional accents.
Mm,
And when I lived in the South, I could tell, oh, they're probably from Texas.
yeah.
So a little, but you said 40 to 50.
Yeah.
We might have like 10 because there's definitely a Midwestern accent.
Mm,
And I would include Canada too. Canada has a slightly different accent, but
yeah.
it's a lot like the Midwest if you're like from Minnesota or Wisconsin. So not
Yeah.
that many. And
No, not compared to the size.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Now, how about this for accents? I cannot understand the Irish, the Scottish accent. I don't know a Welsh accent, but it's really, really hard as an English speaker to be like, whoa, what are they saying? How about with you living in the UK is like, oh, Ireland, I know that. I can understand them no problem, or is it tough for you as well?
Um, the toughest for me is probably a really thick Scottish
Okay.
accent. Um, Wales I'm fine with. Wales is very, very sing-songy. So it almost sounds, I mean, I love the Welsh accent. I'm a little bit biased as well, but it's very, if you know Tom Jones, the singer, he's got an awesome Welsh accent, and it's very, I don't know, it just sounds, it's got a nice melody to it.
Yeah.
The Irish, obviously we have the Northern Irish and then the Irish. Again, it can be tricky, but actually the Scouse accent has a lot of similarities to the Irish accent and to the American accent, just because of the history and then the potato famine, and a lot of people from Liverpool moved to the US. So the Irish accent isn't too much of a struggle for me, but I think a thick Scottish accent, because I think as well what you get as well as the accent is the slang words or the expressions and the idioms, which someone will say and I'll think, I have no idea what that means, or I don't know what this type of food is, because they're using a different word than what I would use. So I think, you know, we're all just learning, and you've got to just feel confident to say, oh, can you repeat that? Or can you slow down? Or, you know, what do you mean by this? And most people are going to be, you know, understanding. Like if someone said that to me, I wouldn't take offense. I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe I'm just speaking a little bit too fast.
Right. And I think what happens in tourist places too, well, maybe not tourists, but if you're an English learner with an accent, I'm talking a little accent, that person you're talking to, it might catch them by surprise that, whoa, there's an accent, and they might not hear you the first time. So if they ask you to repeat, you know, hopefully they'll do it nicely. But a lot of times we just have to train our ear. And I think as English native speakers, we're used to a lot of accents. It's just we need, oh, okay, I need to just listen a little bit closer or a little more closely or something like that. But hopefully they do it in a nice way.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as you get the context of what people are saying, you can often guess the meaning of something, I think.
But even with my wife, like, you know, the person I know best, if I'm not ready to listen to what she's saying, I might just say, oh, could you repeat that? We do the same thing. If you're not ready to hear something, you might miss the first part. So
yeah, definitely.
We're always asking each other, like, oh, what did you say?
Yeah.
We do have
different with your partner, because I think with your partner, sometimes we just choose not to listen.
No. Just in case she's watching. No, never. So we have a question for Carys here. Are there any American phrases that confuse you? And they're asking any British phrases that confuse me. I'm trying to think.
I am. It's hard on the spot. Because I probably don't know a lot of American phrases. I think the vocabulary words are always interesting about how we would, for example, and I think I know this is how it is in Canada. So I think it's the same in the States with ground floor, first floor, second floor, for example. And whereas we're quite different with how we use that. And I think that's quite confusing. So I think a lot of vocabulary words can be a little bit strange.
I think so. And I love the Beatles, by the way, from Liverpool. I mean, come on. I am a Beatles fanatic. I know everything about the Beatles, the Liverpudlian accent. I mean, I love it. I love everything Beatles. But I think even if like you call, man, the car, so the boot, that's the trunk, right?
Yes. So we call it the boot is the back of the car, the trunk,
bonnet.
And the bonnet. The bonnet. Yeah. Which you call what do you call the bonnet?
We call it the hood.
The hood.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
The hood has a couple different meanings. Like
the
you
hood
can also
does.
live in the hood, you know, my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But
from the hood. Yeah. Yes. Bonnet. I don't know where that comes from. I think hood makes more sense because a bonnet is a hat, typically.
True, but you could also put a hood on,
you
know, like a sweatshirt too.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of vocabulary words that I think are funny that we use differently. I'm trying to think of A few more. I did a video on it once with a Canadian friend of mine, and it is hilarious the differences that we have.
And a lot of times when, like, even when you're learning another language, but when you have the context surrounding it, you're like, oh, okay. Oh, a pram, we call like a buggy or a stroller.
Yeah, yeah, we have a pram, and there. I tell you one that is quite funny. A dummy. So a baby's dummy, which I believe that you guys call a pacifier.
We do, or a passy. Yes.
Passy.
Yeah.
So where's the passy? Where's the baby's passy?
Right. They probably dropped it.
Yeah.
And I have 2 children, and we never gave our children pacifiers. We never did. We didn't want to have to cross that bridge when they would throw them away. We thought they would speak more quickly if they didn't have the pacifier. We never did the whole passy thing, but maybe diapers. Do you call that something different for babies?
Yeah, nappies.
Nappies.
A nappy. Yeah, a nappy.
A jumper. A jumper. What is that? A sweatshirt? Like, it's a shirt, right? A jumper?
Yeah, like you're almost wearing, I think, like a jumper. Or is that a t-shirt?
It's a t-shirt.
Oh, that's a t-shirt. Yes, a jumper's just a thick materialed over the head hoodie.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't have a hood. Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, so that would then be a hoodie.
Oh, okay. We use the same.
Yeah.
In my class, my students are like 13 and 14 years old. They love to put on the hoodie and hide. It's a constant battle. Like, take the hoodie off. You're indoors.
So for you then, in the school that you teach at, you don't have a school uniform?
No, we don't.
Is that common throughout the States not to have a uniform?
It's very common. Yeah, it's mostly private. And I think that's a whole thing too with Americans and British. But a private school, so the parents will pay extra money.
Yeah.
It won't be taxpayer money. So we call those private schools.
Yeah.
But I think that's different in the UK, isn't it?
No, that's the same. So we have a public school, which is free to go to.
Okay.
And then we have the private school, which the parents pay for additionally on top of that. But it's very, very common in the UK to wear a school uniform. So for example, in a public school.
Okay.
Yeah. So we start school at the age of 4, 5 and finish compulsory education at 16. And throughout that whole time, I was wearing a school uniform. And actually mine, it's pretty uncomfortable. It was a shirt, a tie, a blazer, a skirt or pants, trousers. Oh, I guess pants. I say pants.
True. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I say pants.
Okay.
Yeah. But most people in the UK would say trousers. But yeah, so it's really, really common in the UK to wear a school uniform, which it's a funny one because on some way I really agree with it, because I think maybe it could stop bullying perhaps, because then I think when you're reaching teenage age, brands become fashionable. You want to have what your friend has. You want to have the cool trainers or whatever. Whereas I think maybe a uniform stops that aspect of it. However, our school uniform was just too much. Like a shirt, a tie, a blazer. It's like, and you're 15.
Right. And you also said trainers, which is something different in the United States. Do you know what we call trainers?
Yeah, I think I do. Sneakers.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, I don't get how it's a sneaker. Like, if it's raining out, it's one of the loudest shoes ever. You're not sneaking anywhere. And, we also, like, where in the South, you'll hear tennis shoes.
So what's a tennis shoe? Is that to play tennis or no?
No, it's a trainer. It's a sneaker. But my wife is from the American South. She's from Alabama. And so they call them tennis shoes.
Tennis shoe.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it? Tennis shoes a random one.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It could be basketball shoes though, but it's tennis shoes in the South.
Yeah. I think sometimes why it's maybe easier for people from the UK to understand American vocabulary is because of movies and TV shows. Because you instantly, obviously, if you're watching anything from the States, you're hearing American vocabulary. So I think that just sort of gets put into your brain a little bit.
I
And
think
if you
you're
do
right.
follow sport as well.
If what was that last part?
If you do follow sport, if you're following basketball or American football, for example.
Right. So Raphael, I have not read this question yet, but I did see your name, so I think there's a question here for you. Raphael says, "Hello, Brent. Hello, Carys. I would like to know what language came first, English or Spanish. My question is because I'd like to know where the idioms come from originally because they're quite similar." I have a guess.
You
But,
go.
okay.
I would guess British English came first. I don't know.
So I think what happened was, English and French and Spanish, they're all pretty related. And I just remember this from class. I think it was in 1066. There was a French invader to
Yeah.
England. And so that's when English became heavily influenced by the French. So I think the English that we know now, but we're talking, almost 1,000 years ago. So I think English made a really big change after that, which is why if you're a Spanish speaker, you will learn English much more quickly than someone who speaks Thai, because the languages are really, the grand scheme of things, they're pretty closely related.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that sounds very plausible to me. I should know this answer. This is something I should know, and I just don't. But I think, don't they come from Latin? I know a lot of it comes from Latin, so I guess it's all filtered down, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. That's
But
where
there was a
all
lot
of
of
our
similarities, especially, I mean, we've stolen a lot of words from the French.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, the French and Spanish, then it goes back to the Latin and Greek. We have a lot of Greek in our language too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So great question, Raphael. Let's look through.
Yeah, I know Raphael. Hi, Raphael.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Mode Ags is here. We have to be careful. Do you know Mode?
I don't.
He's a trickster.
Okay.
I think he was originally from Bob, the Canadians channel. That's where I met him, but he's been here for a little while. And he has a great question too. It's French fries versus chips versus crisps. That can get a little confusing.
Okay. So, for me, so I think what you would call French fries chips. So like the potato wedges, perhaps, what you'd get from like McDonald's or something.
Like a fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Oh yeah, fish and chips. Yeah, it's never going to be a fish and French fries. And then we have chips versus crisps. So crisps for me are those things you get in a rustly packet, baked potato chips.
Really good for you, right? Very healthy.
Delicious.
Yeah, so it is. But I would just like Carys. I mean, I don't think we would have a huge problem with that if we heard someone speaking with an American accent. We're like, oh, we know what they mean. So, but it is a little confusing. Confusing.
Yeah. It's more just daft. I think it's silly that we don't have the same words for them.
Right. How did that happen too? It's like
I know.
daft. That's very British also. Daft.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And posh. I think we should adopt. We don't have a word in American English that quite hits like posh.
Posh.
And I think we should.
You don't have a word like posh.
Because is posh a bad thing or is it a good thing?
I think it depends on how it's being used. I mean, sometimes I would love to be described as posh because I'm so far from it. But posh, obviously, I mean, if we think about it to the extreme, the royal family are posh. Okay. It's typically someone who would have a bit of cash, a bit of extra money. Then we would describe them as posh. But for example, say if I was drinking my drink and I had my little pinky, say my baby finger, how's the camera, like this, someone might be like, oh, Carys, you're so posh because I've got my pinky out. That's
how I always drank. So am I posh?
Wait, you're really posh.
Always the pinky out.
Yeah.
I just know like Posh Spice,
Mm.
right? From the Spice Girls. If anybody is as old as I am, I remember
Oh,
Posh.
love the Spice
Okay.
Girls.
They were very popular when
Yeah.
my wife and I first started dating. So that was the big thing. Scary Spice,
Yeah. Yeah. Baby Spice, Ginger Spice. Yeah. It's my
Ginger Spice.
childhood.
Is it okay? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was something else you. Oh, we might have stylish, but I don't think that's quite like. I mean, posh just encompasses like so many things. Like we need to
Yeah.
bring posh into the United
Yeah,
States, I
it can
think.
mean a lot. And I think, again, that goes on the context of it in terms of you could be using it literally to describe someone who maybe does have money, has a, because we also say it with like a posher accent, which again would be the Queen has a posher accent. So I think it comes from typically if you were like upper class, middle class, working class. But now we can use it very much in a slang way. So say if you got to work on time and you'd washed your hair in the morning and you'd had breakfast and you'd had a cup of coffee, so you were just smashing the day, you could be like, God, I'm smashing it, I'm so posh today, like I'm just doing really well.
I like it. We need that here. Another question here: what's the difference between department, division, faculty, and office? Those are all really closely related, and yet not
Yeah,
really.
I think if you're talking about these in terms of like a school or university building, then they slightly have different meanings. So for me, I would say faculty is the team of people who work in a certain department. So for example, when I was at university, I studied theatre. So I would go speak to a faculty member, so someone who was part of the arts and drama department. And then I would pick the certain person that I needed, if that makes sense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same here. So the faculty at my school would be the teachers, the principals. They're maybe the adults in my school, but in a university or a college, I think it's exactly what you said.
Yeah. And division, personally, for me, a division would mean like a level. So you would have a different, so say if I was playing sports, I might be in division number 1, which might be the best team, or I might be in division number 2, for example, which might be the medium team. So that's how it would be separated into a different level, would be your different division. Equally, that could be with your age group as well, not necessarily just ability.
That's a good point. And I think sometimes department and division, they can be used interchangeably. So
Yeah.
there is that meaning too.
Yeah.
And then office is just some faculty might have an office at the school that you would visit, not the classroom, but kind of after hours for extra questions.
Yeah, it's more of like a formal room, I would say, where you'd go to speak with a teacher or speak with a receptionist for some sort of issue. You would go to an office. It wouldn't be like the classroom. It would be, as you said, a bit more of a formal room.
And at my school, students don't want to get sent to the office. That would be the principal. They're in trouble. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right. Maria, big fan of the Spice Girls. Linda, see, that's how old I am. I remember Spice Girls when I just graduated high school. So
see, this is another thing, actually. Linda makes a good point here. So I remember Spice Girls when I was in middle school. So for us in the UK, we don't really have, and I get really confused with the States, how it works with your years. So for us, we just have primary school, high school, and then university. So what age is middle school?
So that would be like 13, 14, like the best years of your life. Like it's just the most awkward. I have zits, or I think you would call them spots. I have sports.
Yeah.
It's just an awful transition from childhood to adulthood.
I always think for the boys as well, I mean, it's awkward for everyone, and I would not want to go back to that age. But I think for the
Never.
boys, when their voice starts to break, and it literally like overnight, and it's like so funny when you hear a boy reading and the voice is going up and down, up and down.
But it's no picnic for the women either, because like
No.
their bodies are trained like, oh
Yeah.
no, it's just awful. Which is why I like teaching that age. It's just try to help them through that
No.
awkward period. But so we have elementary school, which would be, I think did you say primary school?
Yes. So that's age 4 till age 11.
Okay. And then we have middle school after that for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, middle school. And then we have high school.
So high school, you're going to high school from 14 to 16?
18 here.
18.
Yeah. So it's the law that if you're 16 or under, you have to go to school. But our free and public education, it does last till 18
Yep.
or 19 or 20. If students are identified as special ed,
Yep.
they can go until 20. So
Nice. And then, so in that high school period, and I don't know the years, but I know this again from watching TV shows, like sophomore.
yes.
I can't remember the others.
Okay, so
I don't know the order.
your first one is your freshman year. Your first
freshman
one.
year.
And then your second is your sophomore, and
Yep.
third is junior, and then fourth is senior.
And then do you have the same when you go to university or college? Are you again like freshman,
Yep.
sophomore? Yeah.
You could totally say that. Yep. And then we have undergraduate and graduate. Do you have that as well?
Yeah, so that's how ours would just be. And it would just be, you just say the year you were in. So if I was at university, my first year, it's first year. Second year, third year, that's it. It's quite boring.
But it's a lot easier.
A lot
you just
easier.
have to know simple math.
I know.
Oh gosh. Okay, question from Maria here. Oh, Maria, this is a great question because it is slightly different. And I just did a video on this about college and university. I think, I did. It's on American English Guide 2, my other channel that it's an experimental channel. I can just, put things out there, see if people like them. But how do you use the terms college and university in England? I think it's very different from the United States.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Maria. So for us, we have college, which is from aged 16 to 18. And that is where you would do something called your A-levels, which are the big exams that take place. And depending on the scores you get in those exams, then determines which university you can apply for. And so then university typically is from 18 upwards really. But if you're following the norm, it would be 18 to 21. And most of our degrees last for 3, perhaps 4 years, unless you're doing something like doctor, lawyer, vet, even, where you'd probably be studying more for 4 to 5 years. But for me, my typical undergraduate was 3 years in length. And I went when I was 19 till I was 22. And that was university. And before I was in college. So it is confusing because I think you guys don't really say university. You kind of just go to college. No?
Yes, right. Or somebody might ask you, hey, what university are you going to in the fall? But usually university, they can be used interchangeably sometimes. Right. So it's, if you don't know. And I know you don't often in British English use an article before university, and just like hospital, like, oh, she's going to hospital. Yeah. Where in the United States, we would put a to or the.
So she's going to hospital. So what about university then? He's going to university.
We would say, oh, he's going to the University of Alabama or something like that. We would, but college. Oh yeah, he's going to college this. Yeah. Very informal. But I didn't know that about college is like our last 2 years of high school in the United States.
Yes. And to make matters a little bit more confusing, you can stay in your high school. So you can either stay in your high school up until 18, or you can leave high school at 16 and go to a college, which is just a different location, really.
And it's not better or worse.
I think it depends on what you're studying. It depends on your experience in high school as well. If you enjoyed it, you might stay. If you didn't, because also in college you don't wear school uniform, so that could be your first time not wearing a school uniform. I mean, I went to a college, but I don't know why I chose. I just wanted something different. You know, I'd been in high school for 5 years. I was ready for a change. It wasn't like a well thought out decision.
Right.
Whereas I think for some people who are maybe a bit more clocked on up there, they might try and figure out what's best for them. But I mean, you're 16.
Exactly.
You know?
Nobody's thinking at 16.
No, you shouldn't have these big decisions to make.
No. And so Mary has a question about British English, and we would pronounce that chic. Chic. Is that how?
Yeah, I would say the same. Chic. So again, I think that's French. I'm pretty sure that's French. The word chic, is it popular to use in British English? It's not popular. It's fine. Everyone would understand it if you use that word. It would just mean something is fancy.
How different from posh is chic? Is it quite different?
So I would personally use chic when you're talking about an object. So you might describe this chair as chic. I mean, you wouldn't describe this chair as chic, but if someone had a nice velvet chair that they just bought in their house, you may say, oh, this is very chic. Again, with any sort of soft furnishings, cushions, rugs, lampshades, you could describe all those items as chic, meaning they are a little bit glamorous, feel nice, look nice. That's how it would be used. Is it popular? Not that popular, but it would, if you used it, everyone would understand what you were saying, what you meant.
I think in the United States, it was popular in the 1970s, maybe, like around then. And we could actually describe a person as chic if they're like dressing really stylishly. We might say, oh, they're chic. But here in the United States, it's not that popular either. It's an older term, I think.
Yeah, it's a little bit old-fashioned now, perhaps, isn't it? I think
so. Yes, that's good point. And I think you know Sunshine, right, from Armenia.
I do know Sunshine. Yes, I do. How are you, Sunshine?
I might have missed a couple questions, so I'm gonna look through here. But whoa, I know Carl. 2 of my favorite teachers in one place.
I know That's Carl awesome. As well. Yeah. Czech
awesome.
Republic. Yeah. Oh.
Breezy had to get going, but let's see. I actually wanted to do that's so Sean from Free 99 English mentioned, and I think in Canada they probably use these terms as well: white collar versus blue collar.
Yes.
Do you use that? Okay.
It's used. The way I heard these terms first actually was when I was studying business. So that's how we would use it. Even we would say, oh, it's a white collar crime or it's a blue collar crime. Personally, I don't use that now. But I from what I remember, it's like white collar is more as 399 is saying posh, and blue collar is more maybe working class or something not as well to do.
I think this requires like a full video because it is pretty complex.
It's quite loaded,
yeah. At one time, I think blue collar was looked down upon. It wasn't as glamorous. But when we're talking about money now, I think blue collar jobs probably on average pay better in the United States than white collar.
So as a blue collar job, would that be like a builder or a plumber? Is that a blue collar job? Yeah.
Yes. And it comes like a mechanic used to wear a uniform that had a blue collar in the United States.
Oh,
So you're talking your mechanics, your plumbers, your electricians. Right now in the United States, you cannot find a plumber, an electrician. They are making bank.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the
That's the same in
school,
the UK. Yeah,
okay. And
for
so
sure.
when I first got into teaching, we were encouraging all of our students, you need college, you need your 4-year degree. That has changed. It's like, don't get in debt, go to school for 2 years, make your own hours. You'll probably have to work really, really hard. You are going to be okay as a
Yeah.
plumber.
Yeah, you know what? It's the exact same in the UK as well. I think those type of jobs used to be frowned upon or seen as like the working class.
Right.
Whereas now, if you know or you are a good plumber, a good electrician, oh my gosh, you're like everyone's best friend.
Yes.
Everyone wants to be with you. Everyone wants to know you. And I totally agree. I think sometimes, obviously, it depends on your job, but I don't think children should be pushed to go to university or college because you come out with so much debt.
Mm-hmm.
And as you say, there's other ways to train, even training online now. You still get certificates. You can work. You can start from a company. You know, you'd probably be on the lowest rank, but you can quickly work your way up. So
Exactly.
I think there's a shift happening on how we view degrees.
I totally agree. And I think it's a good thing. Another question here. I don't know about this. So maybe you do, Carys. Have you ever heard the phrase, the jar is cold before? It's used to refer to someone who stays single for a long time or who stays unmarried. I'll say right off, that is not a term used in the United States, but I love it. I don't know if we have a term. How about in British English?
With the same, the jar is cold. Never heard it before. Never heard it before. But again, I mean, I quite like it.
Yeah, it
Refers
makes
to someone who
sense.
stays single for a long time, or who stays unmarried. The jar is cold. So I'm trying to think what we would say for that, actually, if we have an expression for someone who stays single.
So I would not use this. At one time for women, we had like, she's an old maid. That might come from the British. I'm not sure. But if a woman never married and she was getting to be the age of a grandmother, she
Yeah.
might be considered an old maid. That's not used anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I wouldn't have said an old maid. I mean, maybe. I don't know that one. The one I've heard is, and again, I wouldn't use this word, is spinster,
yes.
which is,
Yes.
don't use it. to
It's
people.
bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like that's quite offensive.
Okay. I remember, I think reading that in some I love them, British literature, some of the best. I love
Yeah.
Shakespeare. I love Dickens, but it sounds like a word Dickens might use. She was a
Yes.
spinster.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't use it now.
No, okay. Spinster.
You might get a punch in the face. Yeah.
Now, I don't know Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion very well, so we might have to pass on this unless Carys has a little bit of
No.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
How? Oh, but yeah. So I don't know George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, but okay, I see his question is this. Thank you, Nikita. This is one I have as well. And I'm not going to say, yeah, I think there was another big kind of channel in English that may have, I don't know, got in trouble for this. I think this is a great question. So in British English, does a person's accent have anything to do with their social class? You talked about RP. Is that still a thing in England?
No, but people think it is. So there was definitely there still arguably is a divide between the north and the south of England. I don't know where this came from. I think it was typically because if you were from down south, you would probably have more money. You'd be classed as the upper class. Whereas if you were from up north, you would be the working class. So there still is a divide, but I think less and less people are actually caring about this divide. It's man-made, it's all in our head. And I think people like to play on that fact sometimes. I mean, we all have our sales points, don't we, I suppose? And if you are speaking with an RP accent, that is your selling point. That's something that you can use to be like, I speak with an RP accent, it's a clear accent, etc., etc. So is it still a social divide? Yes, I think probably. I think even looking on the TV, you're going to hear more accents than others. And typically, so this is actually I think this is quite interesting. A call center, those annoying people who spam your phone, they ask you ridiculous questions and you're like, oh. So typically in the UK, call centers will either be in Liverpool or Newcastle. So Newcastle is the east of England, and they speak with a Geordie accent. It's very bouncy, it's very fun. You get drawn in, I think, to a Geordie accent.
Okay.
But they put them in with a Scouse or a Geordie because it's seen as being relatable. Like it's your friend down the phone. Whereas if you're getting put through to someone like human resources, or you need to make a complaint, you would likely to be put through to someone who is from down south, who speaks with more of a Queen's English or an RP accent, because they're seen as having more knowledge, perhaps.
Interesting.
I mean, it's kind of, crazy. So I think definitely there is still this divide, but I do think it's less and less as the younger generation come up and people are moving. Since the pandemic, people are moving out of London. They want to be in the countryside. They want to be in different cities. So I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
We have the internet. Like in 50 years, we might all be talking the same way. The accents might be going away.
I know.
I think they are. Raphael is back, just adding that white collar people, usually they're in charge of things. That's true. Blue collar workers might be more in charge of themselves. They have say in when they work, when they don't want to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mary is from Iran, and she says in Persian they use sheik a lot.
And it is French. It's good to know.
It is French. Okay. That makes okay. More love your accent. It's a great accent. It's a great accent. Linda is from Italy, and she says we call it either primary or elementary. We might call it primary too sometimes. Grammar school. That's a thing in England, though, isn't it? Grammar?
Yes. So grammar school, but that goes more with you would pay to go to a grammar school.
Okay.
So that isn't a public school. That is a private school that you would pay to go to. Yeah. And typically they would still be like an all boys school or an all girls school. So you would obviously go to whichever one your gender is. Yeah, that's a grammar school.
Okay, interesting, because we might use primary, that's less, but you could use grammar or elementary, and they're pretty much the same thing in the United States.
Funny that, isn't it? I wonder where grammar comes from. Grammar school.
I don't know. I hate grammar.
I know.
And the high school is the same. High school. I don't know the Italian word for high school, but I know it starts with an L. Oh, I can't remember.
Oh, Linda, you have to get back.
Yeah, Linda's great.
Yeah.
She probably will too. Okay, Linda has another question, I think. Is it common to say take a sandwich year in UK when you stop university? Great question.
Great question. So I would never call it a sandwich year. Oh, you could call it a sandwich year, actually. So that would be if you've done, say, 2 years of your degree and then you take a break and then the following year you go back to do your final year. That was what we'd call a sandwich year.
Okay.
But more common than that is something called a gap year.
Okay,
Which
and
is,
I wrote that down. That's what we say in the United States as well. Okay.
yeah. And is it the same where it's you take a year out before you go to college or university?
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is here in the United States. And guess where I went on my gap year? I went to London.
Did you go to London?
Yeah, back in
What did you do?
1995, a long time ago. But yeah, I was in London for like a week, and I went up through Europe up to like Finland and back. Like, I don't
In a
know how
week?
I did it. I took a month.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was in London for a week, and then the other 3 weeks, like I flew into Gatwick and I flew out of Gatwick.
Nice. Yeah.
So I don't know how I made my way across the continent of Europe without the
Yeah.
internet, but I did.
Oh, yeah. Did you like Finland? It's a place that I really want to visit.
I loved it. So my senior year, an exchange student from Finland lived with me. So I went to visit him, and I visited my Danish friend. He was an exchange student, so I went around.
That's
Are you
amazing.
are you into sports?
I mean, I'm watching the Euros because I
game.
have to, you know.
Okay. Big game today.
Big game tonight. Absolutely. Come on, England. I think that's what we say.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm really rubbish.
Big
I
fan.
love the Olympics. Big fan. Yeah, I love the Olympics, which I'm happy about to happen in this year in Tokyo. I love just to. I'm not like, oh, you know, I don't do anything myself, but I love to watch.
You don't drape yourself in the Union Jack and paint your face.
Put my medals on.
Yeah, no.
No, but I like who's the American girl who's just incredible at gymnastics? Simone Biles.
Simone Biles.
Yeah.
Yes, Biles.
I mean, she's just insane.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get chills when I watch her. Like, she just is amazing.
Yeah.
She's about 5 foot nothing. Do you say that in the United?
Yeah, 5 foot nothing.
Yeah, she's about 5 foot nothing and just powerful, and it's awesome. Yeah, that's the thing. My wife and I love men's gymnastics. Is just like it's okay, but the women, boom,
powerhouses.
Awesome.
Yeah, just incredible. Yeah, but I love the Olympics. I'm super excited for that. This summer, I think as well, after the sort of the 18 months everyone's had, sport brings people together. You know, it's a conversation starter. It is nice to see England doing well in the Euros, obviously reaching the semi-finals. And I think it's just nice for people to have a bit of a break from the news, and sport is a good release for people, definitely.
100%. I've turned the news off and never been happier. I don't want to hear any more about the news.
Yeah.
Okay, Sunshine has a great question. It's a deep question about schooling. When children don't learn, is it possible that they will stay in the same class?
Yes. So for us in the UK, if you have a child that isn't reaching certain points that they need to, then yes, they can be kept behind a year, is what we would say, and they would just repeat the same year again. I don't know how many years they can just repeat. I don't think it's many. I think if they're not hitting their points, it would probably go, as you said, it's quite a deep question. There would be more involved with parents being brought in, would be looking at if this child has special needs, maybe the school isn't right for them. But for sure, especially when, because for us in the UK, we start school when we're 4 or 5. So for me, I'm an August baby. So I just turned 4 and then I started school. And then you have a lot of people who in the September turned 5. So they're almost a year older than me. Mm-hmm. So it's typical for a lot of young kids to stay behind and repeat the same year because they are almost like a year behind. And it's not anything to do with their brain or how they're learning. It just is they've got that 11 months behind other people. But I wouldn't say it's that common in the UK. Like, I don't know anyone who was kept behind a year.
Yeah,
So,
we've stopped doing that. We would say stay back. We would say stay back in the United States. We're kind of getting away from that, which is kind of weird. My son is actually staying back this year, but it's for sports. That's become a thing, which I'm not totally on board with. But so they will graduate a year later for sports and be a little bit bigger. That's a whole nother issue.
oh,
Yeah,
so
he's
that's
going.
looking more at like the hormone side of his body.
Yeah, just
Right.
for sports. He plays hockey, so bigger, stronger, faster, at like 18 instead of 17. But we will have students that will have, we call it special ed. Sometimes it doesn't even have a name just because we don't, but everybody knows it's a really tricky issue, but they will get special math and usually special English. So there's
Yeah.
on my team, there's a teacher who teaches the special ed math and English. So
Yeah.
sometimes they'll be pulled out of the class. We try to hide it as best we can. It's
There's
it's
extra
messy.
tuition. Yeah. I mean, schools that's a whole different live topic anyway, I think, isn't it? But I wanted to ask you actually, just when you mentioned your son, so is it typical then, because again, this is something that I see on TV shows, and I never know if this is true, about how, what's the word for those people? Like sports coaches from colleges come and watch kids play in high school, and then they would get picked and they would get a scholarship to go and play a sport in a university or college. Is that right? Does that happen? Is that a regular normality?
100%. Yeah, we call them scouts. Scouts. That's
Scouts. Yeah.
that's true. And even as my son, he's only 14, but he's been in tournaments where scouts come to watch. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Wow. How does he cope with the pressure?
He doesn't care.
No, that's good.
And I don't know if he's like hiding it all and bottling up, and he'll have but he like nothing bothers him. He's
really
even keel. We might say that, right? Even keel. And
yeah.
The highs are not too high. The lows aren't too low. It's just,
that's good. Very content.
Yeah. He doesn't get that from me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, Carys, I don't want to keep. This has been absolute blast.
Yeah.
We're going a little over an hour, so I just want to be conscious of your time and don't keep you here too long. And I do have a chat with Mary at about this time, I guess. Oh, it's 10:12 already, my time. So we've been here for a while.
I know, it's gone really fast though.
Yeah. Just one more plug. It's English Arts Academy. Check it out. Link in the description. Did you have any last words you'd like to say?
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's commented. I've really enjoyed getting to know the people who follow you and participate with you. Some great questions. And also thank you to you, Brent. It's been so lovely. And you'll have to come onto my channel at some point when you're free as well. And I want to thank you for the time. I know that you've really accommodated to my time today as well. So I appreciate that.
I don't usually go midweek. I have though. I have gone at this time. I think a couple weeks ago once, but it's fun. It's fun. I love the summer because I have extra time. So.
Oh well, awesome. Make sure you rest as well.
Oh, no problem there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been so lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to do this again sometime. Thank you to everyone who asked questions. If we didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. It's my fault. We'll get it next time. And sometimes, I don't know if you do this, Carys, but sometimes I'll go back through the chat and I'll just, it might be good for a video or make a, Carys also does a lot of shorts. I've seen you do a lot of shorts, which is a great way to ask questions. And maybe, Carys, take one of these questions if you want. Ask on your channel. Check it out.
Definitely. Yeah, because there's some good points been raised. Definitely.
Just so much to talk about though, and it's only an hour. So I
know it's gone really fast as well. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you, and we'll see you all a little bit later.
Take care. Bye bye.